Good evening, folks. I want to welcome you to another edition of MLC Talk. This is the platform we discuss all things Lutheran. Today we have our in studio Dr. George Tutu. He's our host today. He's just making some technical adjustments. Our brother Elijah Zina is not going to be with us today uh, um, due to some other engagements that he has to attend to. And our sister couple Soleil, we anticipate that she will be joining us. But hey, folks, I am going to wait on Dr. Toto. He's going to introduce our show today. Hey, Dr. Toto, welcome, welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Woody. We want to greet our listening audience out there today. This is the last Sunday of the month, March 2025. Wow, we kind of hitting that quick, Woody.
Yes, I know.
2025. I think, according to the church Canada, this will be the fourth Sunday in Lent, right?
This,
Yeah, I think this
yes,
is the
yes,
fourth Sunday in Lent.
yes,
So,
yes, sir, yes,
yeah,
sir. Yeah,
to our listening audience out there, we want to welcome you to the show.
yep,
Just do a favor, share all the show
yep,
to your contact, and we appreciate the support the last for you guys for sharing the show. And things like
yes,
that so good to tell our viewership, our number
yep,
been going out, they're
yes,
going all be increasing. So I'm so proud of the
yep.
network that the audience is happy to make the network to be a success with it.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. Sharing the show, we our viewership has been increasing, and we are so much grateful that we can have an
So,
increment in our viewership. Yep,
yeah. Like what they said, Elijah will not be on today. Elijah is en route
yep,
to Liberia. Want to wish him a safe traveling myself,
yep,
and to the rest of the crew that traveled with him. Want to wish
yep,
them safe safe travel.
yep,
You were just out, I think last week. You are also to somewhere in Germany. We saw
yeah,
all the beautiful pictures,
yes,
especially our our founding father Luther. You went to I saw you have some picture in his studio, some historical site. You want care to share a little bit like to about that?
yeah. For me, thank you so much, Dr. Toto. You know, having the opportunity to visit Luther Land, for me, it was such a lifetime experience that I could not really afford to miss once the opportunity came across me. And I'm so grateful to the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America, and precisely the Wittenberg office, Dr. Reverend Brittany. I want to say thank you to her, and also the Christian tour, Christian Europe tour team for organizing this. Um, I mean, like you said, visiting some of the historical sites, and standing in the footstep of Luther, the reformer Luther, it just giving a whole new perspective, on the Reformation. And I will say this quickly. I know our guest is in the it's in the back that when we went to the church, the church where the 95 theses was nailed, so when our tour guide asked us this question, say, you know which hymn can we sing? So everyone, just in unison, we decided to sing Almighty Fortress is Our God. And the moment we started singing that song, a group of tourists, reformers, Lutherans from South Korea, my dear brother, from South Korea, not from Africa, not from Australia or Europe, from South Korea. This moved me a whole lot. The impact that this reformer made in the world, the South Koreans, they joined us, and we all sang Almighty Fortress is Our God. And I tell you what, this is an experience that I encourage every Lutheran to seek the opportunity to experience. Yeah, I
And
encourage you to seek the opportunity.
what it that's very good. it kind of motivated me to want to go to Berlin.
No, absolutely. You
I've
want to. Yeah.
I've been to Germany. I've been in Munich. I was just there. I was in Munich last year, October.
Yeah.
Then also to Frankfurt. Those
Yeah.
are one of the two German cities I've been to.
Yeah.
To see the incredible picture that you share,
Yeah.
especially with kind of Lutheranism, the
Yeah.
birthplace
The
of
birthplace.
the Lutheran Church
Yeah.
that we claim to follow.
Yeah.
I think it will be we that have the opportunity to travel to those places. That it will be unique in our lifetime.
Yeah.
To try to visit the places. But it was very good. I'm glad that you are back with your family. We are here with another edition of the show.
Yeah.
Today, our guests will be discussing a very important individual who have made a significant headway in the Lutheran Church in Liberia.
Yeah.
In terms of his background, where he came from,
Yeah.
his book he wrote.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of wonder why this man, with all the vast knowledge he had, we never tap into his resources. Man, I don't know why he been in the shadow, or you don't want to appear in the public to know the type of incredible work that he had done. I'm so amazed,
Yeah.
But we have Dr. Alexander Sumo, Sumo,
Yeah.
with it.
Yes.
He has contributed a lot.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely. Quickly before I go to the point you just made, when you said the his contribution, for a fact he is a reformer. So when I just spoke briefly about Luther, I mean, he in the back end he was smiling, because when it comes to the teachings of Luther, the Reverend Dr. Smo is well versed in that. And yes, absolutely, you are right. I don't know, maybe it would be a misstep on our part, on the part of Aliyah, on the part of the Lutheran Church in Liberia. But I mean, for some, or maybe on the part of Reverend Smo, maybe he been, either sitting in the back end for some time. But it's time that Reverend Smo really, we really bring him to the forefront. I read a little portion of this book, and I mean, the book is so rich. It's so rich, Dr. Tutu, and no one better, to discuss this book with, especially when
With
it
it,
comes to church
with it.
leadership.
Do me a
As-
favor, just read the title of the book for our listening audience. Just say you already, just read the
yes,
title of the book for us.
yes, and the title of this book is "Reforming the Lutheran Church in Liberia: A Quest for for an indigenous identity, missional leadership, and self-sustainability." And this is the online version, the Kindle edition. It can be found on Amazon. It's very, very inexpensive. This book is inexpensive. It's on Amazon. Um, and it's just $10 to get the digital version of this book. So I encourage every well-meaning Lutherans, Liberians to take opportunity and grab a copy of this book. It's rich. It's a rich material.
And then, can you imagine, before I bring my guests here,
If you don't mind, you want me to
I
just
tried
share a
to,
screen, I can do that if you don't mind.
I ordered the book, right? I
Okay.
ordered the book to do my research and read. After I tried to get a Kindle version of it. And then
Yeah.
I didn't even check whether I didn't check the translation. They gave me, I didn't get option of English or Spanish. And all
Yeah.
of a sudden, the one I key into about Kindle version, that's the Spanish version. Yeah, I said, well, yeah, I'm not a Spanish man. Why? So when I check, I'm the one that make the error because they gave you the option whether you want
Yes.
Spanish or English. And
Yeah.
I didn't even check. I just went click in the Spanish version. Okay, but Reverend Alexander Small, welcome to the podcast and welcome to my Lutheran Connection. We discuss Lutheranism, our church. We discuss the social, economic aspect of the church. We don't want to say social, political, economic. We don't want to be more political, but we don't want to look at the social, economic aspect of our church, the group, the church we all love. We all went to the random file of the Lutheran Church in Liberia and to see where we are today and to see the type of work that you have done in the church. So we said that we can't just like jump you under the shadow. So we invite you on the show for to discuss your work and look at the perspective on some of your current events that facing the church. How can we tie it down to your book to make our church to be one of the, I don't want to say most successful church among the churches, but to be a successful church because
Yeah.
we have come a long way. You talk about the historical content of your church in your book. So welcome, very small.
Thank you. Thank you. Do you hear me?
Yes,
Okay,
we can
hear
hear
you.
you very well. Yep.
Good, good. Well, thank you guys very much. I've been following over the years, perhaps over months, the work you guys do with my Lutheran connection. I think it's a great first step for our church and for all of us in the diaspora to be able to contribute significantly to the work of our church. So thank you guys for allowing me to participate today and to discuss the work we've done, specifically with the work on the book. I think the book is the contemporary version of the history of the Lutheran Church in Liberia that is very crucial if we want to move forward as a church in development. And so thank you guys, and we can better discuss it as we go forward.
So thank you, very for that, your for your scholarship. You know, when I saw your CV, bachelor degree, sociology, public administration, GST, master degree, doctoral degree. You have a huge scholarship, Larry. I want to say thank you for your scholarship and the contribution you have made for the Lutheran Church in Liberia and for the Lutheran Church in the diaspora. Dr. Sumo, so we come to the book. Why really inspire you to write the book? Especially when it comes to the historical content of the book about the Lutheran Church in Liberia. Why really inspire you to?
Well, like many publisher, it is very important to have what we call a footnote for your work. And probably the last 15 years, I had the privilege of visiting our National Archives in Chicago, where I visited the region in our archives that relates to the work of missionaries in West Africa, specifically in Liberia. I came across a swarm of major contribution and writings related to the work of the Lutheran Church in Liberia, which is quite candid. If anyone want to do a lot of work in Liberia, it's good and very good to come to the knowledge of what others have done before us. And two of the guys that I work on their work is Alexander Day and Morris Officer. Those guys did a lot of work in Liberia, and if you visit Global Mission and check the archives, you will see a lot of the resources that can be much more used, not just for the Lutheran Church in Liberia, but many other denominations. The missionary did a lot of good work. So the idea of my book was to bring a contemporary version of what our former bishop wrote, so that we have a clear understanding of what new leaders after the missionaries are doing or were doing in Liberia since the 1860s and even up to 1960. So my book is a version of what a contemporary idea of Lutheran history in Liberia or perhaps West Africa can portray.
Actually, Larry, transform the Lutheran Church in Liberia. Look at the leadership aspect of it, right? So, uh, did you, when it comes to the leadership aspect, the perspective of your leadership, did you see any leadership problem in the church from when the missionary came in to form this beautiful church for all? They left, and then they take the church all the way they teaching up people because I saw you teaching up in your book to the church all to run the church, and then they tell them what to all, and then we begin to see some crisis in both our institution started going down, lack of funding, and all of it. So what's your leadership crisis responsible for it, or we're not really trained as leader to take care of the infrastructure that was built by the missionary?
Well, I may not call it a leadership failure or leadership crisis. I think there was a disjunct concept of the idea of what leadership was like from the very inception. If you follow what Morris Officer or Alexander Day envisioned for the church, you will come to realize that over the years, the idea of self-sustainability or the idea of indigenous leadership was missed, was made so violent to the point that millions and millions of dollars went to missionary work in Liberia, especially for the Lutheran Church in Liberia, and those resources was misdirected. And even unfortunately, you will come to realize that most of the institution that was built by then was ran by missionaries with the idea that locals would be trained to oversee those institutions when the missionary is facing out.
So, Reverend, was a local train?
To some extent, yes.
But
To
then
some
what brought,
extent,
but then what brought some of our infrastructures are failing?
well, I mean, I like the word you use, failing, but for me, I usually don't like to go that far. You will come to realize that the majority of the indigenous that was trained, unfortunately, left the church or went to other institutions because of the concept of leadership in our church. If you come to realize that over the time, most of the pastors like John Calamu, the Manawu, the Wiggy, all the young guys that were trained did not have the access to resources that were given the missionary as the missionaries in leadership. So it's like when the missionaries are leading those institutions, enough resources came. But once the missionary phased out, the money that would come to run any of the institution was not enough or could not give a better chance for the locals to lead their own institutions.
Thank you. If folks out there, this is my Lutheran Connection podcast. In studio world today we have Reverend Alexander Wasmo, our own Lutheran pastor here in the diaspora who have contributed a lot. We are discussing a book, and in studio have with it. We meet our other host, couple that you are today. With it, Elijah is en route to Liberia, so want to wish you a traveling mercy as he travel to Liberia. Do a favor, share the show. I see in the chat, Bishop says you want to come on. Bishop, if you like to come on the show, this is a discussion. You are welcome to contribute. You can come on the show. The link, when it can you send the link to Bishop? Want to come to if why you want to appear on the show, the part of the discussion. So with it,
Yep.
you are taking a glance of the book.
Yep.
What is your perspective on very small work? What are some of the essays from his book that we can translate to present day reality in the Lutheran Church in Liberia?
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Toto, for that question. I was just looking at the introductory part, like from the introduction, and he talked about how information was gathered. So Reverend Dr. Smith did not only stay in Ohio to gather all this information. If you look at the fourth part or count four, he said that and conducting telephone and in-person conversation across the LCL to research issues affecting the development of an indigenous local church capable of self-governance and self-sustenance is key. So remember when Leo came on the show a few Sundays ago, okay, he talked about data collection. He talked about how they took, I think he said almost 2 years to gather data, okay, in order to successfully present the case to donors that this is the reason why we want this Liberian Education Center to be established, okay, and it just points me to the work of Reverend Smo. Reverend Smo did not, as I mentioned earlier, he did not just gathered this information. No, but he went on ground. He had phone interviews. He went on ground. He spoke to a cross section of people. My understanding is that cross section of people affecting those in Lofa, in Bone, in the southeast, because we have, I think, 6 districts in the LCL. So I'm of the opinion that he visited or interviewed people across these 6 districts to gather information. So again, the material that is up here, I mean, we cannot even take a day. Probably I would say we need to do a marathon on this book.
Thank you. Well, if I may just come here, Dr.
Go ahead, Dr. Small. Go ahead, Remy.
The work of this book was actually evolved as a result of my doctoral dissertation.
Okay. Yep.
So initially we had a 2 year of a ransom research that took us to Liberia, and perhaps around 6 of the 9 districts of the Lutheran Church in Liberia. And even prior to that, had a lot of discussion with some of the leaders of the church, like Dr. Walter Goningali, Priscilla Bossy, and Bishop Emeritus Sumo Harris, Betty McCrandle, Sue Talawoda, and a lot of the historians in our church who understands and have come to a grasp with some of the information about our church. So it was an extensive resource and extensive research that was conducted as a result of this work. So it's not just something that we took from our head, but we also did research in Chicago, where most of our history is swamped in the archives of the ELCA.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's true, Reverend. From just reading an excerpt of the book, I can tell that the information here, the book is loaded with a lot of rich information. Absolutely.
Thank you.
And then also, Reverend, before we come again, when you wrote the book, your dissertation, you wrote it in a book. When you published the book, was it embraced in the Lutheran community, especially our church in the Lutheran church? Did they contact you? Did they say, Dr. Sumo, congratulations for the good work. We use the book to help to transform the church, because that's your work, that's your research. That's the reason why, if you're in a doctoral program, you graduate, you want for your research to be a reflection of the institution you research for, you go there. Like my dissertation, I take on housing authority in Liberia. When I done my dissertation, I publish it, I get a huge kilo for housing authority report of Liberia. Was that the case of the Lutheran Church in Liberia? Did they reach out to you? Was there any kind of discussion?
Well, unfortunately, that was not the case. But I had a privilege of attending I think the last convention, where the idea was that the book will be presented to the church. And I discussed that prior to going to Liberia with the sitting bishop then, and he agreed. And unfortunately, when we got on the ground, there were lots of politics and a lot of
who was the bishop at that time? Dr. Sumo?
Jensen.
Okay, Bishop Jensen. Okay.
And I was offered the privilege to go to the convention and present this book as a work of our church locally. Unfortunately, that was turned down in Bangor, and I did not have the privilege to do that. But for the sake of our church here in the United States, it have gained a lot of momentum. In fact, as senior assemblies, my book have been much more purchased by American Lutherans than Liberians. The majority of the nearly 400 copies that been sold was bought by former Lutheran missionaries and their churches. So yes, they've had a lot of good welcome here in the United States. Unfortunately, in Liberia, not many interests have been shown.
Reverend Taratuto, I want to follow up with Reverend on the issue of publicity on the book. So you made a point that the book has gained more attention in other communities other than the Liberian community. I think I remember once, I think it was probably like a year or two ago when the book was launched, right? How much publicity was done within the Liberian community. When I say the Liberian community, talking about, I think off my head I can name up to 5 or 6 congregations where we have, predominantly Liberians, talking about People's Community in Baltimore, River of Life in Minneapolis, the African Lutheran Mission in Ohio. There are 2 congregations in New Jersey, Trenton, New Jersey, and Fit Emmanuel Lutheran Church in Philadelphia. Um, how much publicity was done, and is it possible? I just want to add a part B to it, that is it possible to do a relaunch of this book, because I've read just a little piece of this book, Reverend. I think, and this is just my opinion, that we can work towards a relaunch of this book so that us Lutherans in the Liberian community can have access to this rich information. I'm saying this because, and Reverend, I will say this quickly and you will come in. I don't mean to brag so much about the recent trip that I went on, but if you see the Germans, the wealth of information that they have, according to the group that took us on this tour, the tour, we spent 4-5 days, but according to the tour company, this should have been for 10-11 days. So it means that it was crunched by all means to 4 days. So with this wealth of information and work put into this book, is there a possibility that we can relaunch this book, do enough publicity, especially in our Lutheran community, Liberian Lutheran community, so that a lot of us, who do not have idea or access to this book can have access to this book?
Well, definitely we can do that, Willie. And I think that's something that I was trying to work on sometime last year. In fact, I'm doing another book that should be out probably late this year, that encompasses not just the Lutheran Church in Liberia, but most of the missionary churches in West Africa. And it will portray most of the information that is needed for not just evangelism, but also economic, social, and political injunction of the church, that our institution can be much more vast or versed when it comes to some of the issues that is confronting not just members, but the community at large. And so, yeah, I'll be open to something like that, especially when we have a Leah assembly in some of those meetings. I'm open to that. And a bigger portion or a bigger work is coming out sometime soon. And I'm hoping to do a lot of publicity in Liberia. In fact, I intend to relaunch this book at one of the convention of the Lutheran Church in Liberia, and as well as in our different communities across the United States.
That's good, Harry.
Wonderful.
And
Thank you. Yeah.
that's a good point. What it is, I think we need to look into the aspect of relaunch the book. The book is so rich with a lot of resources, and like I said, I don't know why just sat the layer crossed before our eyes. All
Yeah.
to all digging into it. And one other aspect you said in your intro about the difficulty the missionary face in Liberia, you talk about the leadership aspect of it. Well, without us ego, some of them die in the struggle to get a church in Liberia, in tribal war, language barrier. You list all these things affect the leadership of the missionary those days. But yet they were focused. Despite they were dying from malaria, yet they were focused to establish the church in Liberia, to get the church in Liberia that contribute significantly to the growth and development of Liberia, economic development in Liberia. You talk about education, the Lutheran Church have been there. You talk about health, the Lutheran Church been there to be where the church is today. So the contribution of these people to get the church to where it is today, and looking at current event in the church, when it comes to the way our church has been run with a lot of alleged accountability issue, the church is not moving the way you and I want for the church to move. we understand we see how things in the world. Is that something that really frustrates you, or you think more need to be done?
Well, I think like any of us, the kind of a system in our church, especially when it comes to leadership. You don't want to have opinions because usually when you voice opinion, people get agitated by them. But I think if you look at the structure of our church leadership, is something that need to be rearranged or perhaps reconditioned in a way that is much more contemporary, or it is much more setting in its own setting in a way that can make much sense to the locals. If you look at the idea of moral officer, if you read through the journal here in my book, you will come to realize that the initial idea of the founding father of our church was to have a sustainable church locally. And officer did that. And they all had intention of establishing a local conundrum where locally you could raise money to run your ministry. If you look at the concept of the Lutheran Training Institute, LTI, that initially started in the Maysbury era prior to moving to Tututa and then to Salaye, the idea was to start a farm and then a small school and then a worship center. That was the pattern of Lutheran leadership all across Liberia for a little over 100 years. They had farm. In Maysbury, they have one of the biggest farms that could supply their needs daily. And in fact, when they raised more crop and animals, they had the intention of selling. They began to sell to Morovia, and the resources came in to support the mission. That was the idea. And when the mission moved to Totota and then to Salaye, that was the idea. The Lutheran Training Institute, even as it began a boarding school, the concept was to run a church farm that could sustain the church locally. And they did just that. But unfortunately, today, the whole idea of leadership is patterned or concept after the national leadership in Liberia. I mean, everybody want to do everything for themselves.
But why?
Nobody want to sacrifice.
But Reverend Smoke, why really went wrong in our church? Now, let's bring it to our church. Why really went wrong? Because I can remember before my parents took me to Monrovia to go to school, the Lutheran mission closed. It was very frustrating. They no longer could run the total Lutheran mission. They closed up. Parents started taking their children to other institutions like government school, private school. Some of our parents that had the privilege, they take on the Monrovia to go to school. You see our infrastructure started dying.
Right. I'm not cutting you off. But
why was the problem?
The problem, even in my hometown, Panacola, we had a Lutheran mission school, elementary school. But as time went by, the church could no longer have resources to support those institutions. So most of the schools were turned over to government. If you read through my book, you will see that.
Yeah, that's why
most of the Lutheran mission were turned over to government, because when the missionary pull off or when they started to reduce their presence, resources dwindle. Resources reduce. So the concept initially was to be self-sustainable, train your locals, and when the locals took over, they could follow the pattern of sustaining the mission by doing agriculture, or go into some sort of investment. Unfortunately, most of our missionaries left the idea that church should not be involved in business, which is wrong, which was very wrong.
Yeah, right.
The concept of business, I mean, if you look at the ELC, I mean, I've been in most of the leadership structure of the ELC. I've served on university board. I've served in church-wide committees. Yeah. The church is vastly involved in investment, outside investment.
Yes.
If you look at the ELCA Foundation, is billions of dollars.
Yes.
In the ELCA Foundation, I mean billions, like in B.
Yeah.
And those billions come from investment in housing, investment in Wall Street, in stocks.
Yes.
Yeah. So In Liberia, I remember in St. Peter when I was a late child, there were people with ideas that wanted to get involved into construction of homes. Like when Reinhard Tizek came with LWF, his concept was to empower the church by providing money to buy houses and run. Like most of the houses we have in Cinco, that's how they came about. Who told you the church can make farm and sell meat? Who told you the church can build houses and rent?
So
Who
so
told you the
very
church can invest
very the people
into
that
the economy?
the people that the congregation were they equipped to receive the message? Because the reason why I say this, so Bishop Jensen, when he started his farm project, he said he wanted to make a farm to LTI, and then there was some kickback. Somebody, I won't call the person name, but the person said that the person make a remark in my presence. They said that President Tower failed to feed the Liberian people. They kill him. He feed the Liberian people. That you the one can make an open farm to feed Liberian people. You know? So was a message tailored for our people to accept the messages in terms of like agriculture, farm, the church, where the church coming from, to be more productive. Was it people that were trained, they had something they call train the trainers in America here. Train the trainer. Was the pastors or those in responsibility train with doing? Did they train the people adequately to get the message that are making what they ready to move in the direction we're supposed to move?
Look, Dr. Toto, let me tell you this. The training is training. And usually people get trained by means of what we call the apprentice. A lot of our leaders who were trained by the missionaries, of course, they went to school. I mean, most of them went to the seminary at LTI. We had a seminary at LTI. Most of our leaders were trained over there. And not only that, a few of them I had the privilege of going overseas, like Deeks and what's the former bishop name who wrote the first book? Ping.
Ping, yeah, Ping.
And Guaningali.
Yeah.
And Nangana and all the other guys who were trained by missionary or used missionary resources for training understood what it meant to be self-sustainable. They understood that. Nobody had to come from heaven or come from America or come from Scandinavia, where our church had leadership in Germany, Norway, Denmark. Nobody had to come from there to tell you what to do to sustain the church locally. And unless we can come to the idea that we have to have vision for local sustainability. I mean, all of you here in America know the situation of the church worldwide economically. I mean, unlike the last couple of years, or unlike the last 2 decades, resources were freely sent to Africa by missionary institutions. Resources were freely taken. They supported budget. They supported all programs. They supported even local pastors with resources. Today, that's not the case. No. Today, you have to have a precision vision that is well carved and is openly discussed with leaders from your own vision before they can give you $10,000 or $5,000 or $2,000. Yeah. Prior to this time, millions of dollars came to Liberia for trauma healing. Mm-hmm. I work with the AIDS program. We have pretty close to $11 million that was resourced to us through the Lutheran Church in Denmark. Mm-hmm. Today, or going forward, that would not be the case. I mean, I serve on several committees with the church-wide office. I know how much money the ELC has. They're not going to give it to anybody so easily.
So the problem was a accountability issue.
Of course, a lot of that is tied to that. Because look, Toto or Willie, yeah. If these people entrust you with $100,000, mm-hmm. They expect you to do what you promised to do. They expect you to live by the text of the project you gave them. Yes. They expect reports. Yeah. If you go to Global Mission, I know a lot of the projects from Liberia and Sierra Leone and Ghana and Nigeria. I've sat on committee and people review those documents. You will be shocked. Mm-hmm. Yep. To listen to some of the worst kind of report that people made with people's resources. Yeah.
Oh,
So here, the people are quite very smart. They are quite on top of things right now.
Yeah.
So they're not going to give you any more resources for anything unless they are much more involved and understand what you're going to do about that.
that's a good point.
So,
Hey,
so
to our listener all there we are discussing with Reverend Dr. Alexander Sumo. We are discussing about a book, Transforming the Lutheran Church in Liberia, a quest for the indigenous identity, missionary leadership, and self-sustainability. Each studio we have with it,
yeah.
we do have the number out there for if anybody want to call in. Bishop, I see you there in the chat. If you, I think we can send the link to if you want to call into the show or you want to come to the show to contribute to the discussion. We'd appreciate it.
Yeah,
And
he's in the back end, but before he can come here, I want to ask a question to Reverend Smo. Reverend, previously we hosted I think it was Dr. Mammy and that I told something right if it was the Phoebe show or another edition of the podcast that we had, and there was this claim that and it might not have been the Phoebe program, but one of the podcasts that we had, and some some of the viewers or the guests were saying that the missionary did not train us. The missionary did not the missionary just handed it over to us. But from what
yeah,
I'm hearing from you,
but we'll
it's
have with Sonny George.
yeah eh?
Well, the discussion with Sonny
Yeah,
George.
with Sonny George, right?
Yeah,
So that the missionary did not train us, but from what I'm gathering from the information I'm gathering now is that the missionary did give us the opportunity, and that's coming from some of the names that you mentioned, including Dr. Waiton Sankawolo, Dr. What's the name? Ma Phoebe. What's the name?
Gordon
Walter
got
Gwaningali.
What are going on?
Yeah, Walter Gwaningali. And some of the other people, Dr. Jensen also. Uh, um, were trained. So is it that the training received was not extended, or the transition was the transition was not done, let me say carefully, that it was not handed down in stages, meaning that okay, we turn this over to you, this is how you're going to manage it, and this is what you're going to do, and what wasn't it phased out gradually? Because I'm seeing here in the comment section, brother Edwin Jala, and Edwin Jala is from he's from St. Matthew. He said in parts that the phase out should have been gradual, such that the locals see the church as their own responsibility rather than seeing it as an opportunity to adopt new Western style. Do you agree with him?
I don't. I don't
Okay.
agree with that. I mean, that's his own idea of what he knows of the church. But look, I think in my new work, you will see a lot of that, a lot of focus on the transition. The transition, in fact, was forced by the locals. A lot of people don't know this. Initially, the idea of the missionary mission was to gradually evolve and to allow the locals to gradually oversee their church.
so Reverend, let me just hold on. Let me come in a little bit there. Let me just hold that. So
Can I tell you?
uh,
Can he just expand on that part a little bit,
let me
please?
just
Okay.
put it a little bit so you can spot it. So what I want to say, so the digital told the missionary, say, you know what, this is our church, this is our property below the, oh, we don't need no more again. We want to continue. We don't need no more again. That's why he trying to say.
Right. So that came a time the missionary had a transitional plan. I mean,
Okay.
that is in my book as well. There was a transitional plan that at some point over time, the missionary will allow for the locals to easily sway into the leadership of the church.
Yeah.
But there came a time that the national felt that their voice were not held. In fact, there was a constitutional convention, and I thank God that Bishop is here. There was a constitutional convention where leadership was elected, and the idea was that you will have a national president and an international vice president. So there came a time at some point there were two leadership, a missionary group leadership and a local leadership working side by side. So as time went by, the idea was that they wanted to have this constitutional convention that was perhaps held either in Tototown or in Zoso. And the concept was that the international force were going to now allow the locals to fully take over their church. And that election was held. And so if somebody said that the missionary did not do their part to gradually transition our church, that's not true. You have to read history. You have to read through the lines. And I know the bishop knows much more than I do.
That's good. We gotta let it a lot today. This is a real
a whole lot. Yes.
Yeah, Bishop, what a welcome Bishop to the show today. Bishop, thank you for coming on. Bishop, if you can just face your camera a little bit for your face to come out. So we can see. Yeah, much better. Yeah, Bishop. So, Bishop,
I'm deaf on the bush, so I'm tired.
I see you. Okay, step from your face. Bishop, here we are discussing the incredible work Dr. Sumo did. And like being in the shadow, we didn't know about it. And bringing it out in the public to discuss about it. What's your view, Bishop? Did you read his book or your TC before? What's your view so far?
Look, let me say, from my end, good evening to all of you on the show, and good evening to Dr. Sumo, and thank you for the book. But I think we'd like to be real about something. I like the question. I think it was Kowe Willie who asked earlier. I'm not really sure. If you saw my first comment or second comment, I'm not really sure. The book is good. That's not true. It was. I got it in my email somewhere some 2 years back. But I thought he was still doing his research. But from my own knowledge as a leader here in this church and being along for a long time, he had not really launched that book here. We had not really discussed it. It had not really been presented from Liberian perspective. We all could look at it as it is. And I want to be frank, I'm not that I'm against it. The book is good. I read a portion of it. But the way how you said it, and I was a little bit not too satisfied when we say that it was not accepted by the Liberian community. No, it is not a book that has already been presented to the church in Liberia in the way you talk about it. We take it around and maybe call a forum or something. Important books such as, I would even think we could use that in our schools to teach the history of our school. But unfortunately, it has not been. But I like what he said, that we can go back in another convention if it's a real, or if we can call one of our anniversaries that we're having our 165th anniversary this year. One of them, we can take that book as a point of discussion, just to introduce it to the people so they can be able to understand the book, and then we can see we got universities, we got schools, and we need those information to our people. We should be able to teach them Lutheranism. I want to say thank you, but that's my first point on that. We need to have it really introduced to the people in Liberia. People don't know it, people don't have it too much. Even as compared to the Bishop King's book that he wrote, and that was widespread. But on the other hand, when you talk about, and I'm going to go along with him small, you Lutherans, all of you Lutherans, I'm accusing all of you people. Always say, yeah, you Lutherans. You always say the missionary didn't teach us. The missionary didn't teach us. Why are we saying that? I don't think it's correct. Since when the missionary left us? If we don't know how to give, since when? So the people who complain the missionary didn't teach them were not even around during the missionaries' days.
Right.
We try to take into consideration the fact that the missionary was providing a few oil or maybe lantern or hair tie people who came to church who said they didn't, but we saw them giving offerings.
Yeah. Yeah.
Didn't we learn that we're supposed to give offering to our church? Start. I haven't read book yet, but go back to the history. The Lutheran Church in Liberia was part of one of those churches in Liberia that were even producing coffee and cocoa and selling to Great Britain.
Thank you.
Wow.
We made agriculture.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Even we had shoe making factories. There were other things that our church did. The missionary taught us to even become agriculturists. Is that not an aim of creating income for ourselves? Is that not giving? So when we complain and we who've been pastors over 20, 30 years, we've been teaching stewardship. Your state said they're not teaching you.
Right.
Instead of accepting the fact that we are just mean to support the church, we said they're not teaching us. So I don't like that at all. See that we go all around. We've been all around telling people. I remember during a war when I was inside in 1990, Reverend Pate and myself, we were going from preaching from parish to parish, teaching stewardship. Why are people not willing to give? What do we want? I remember when we made our first budget with Pastor Colombo, we were assisting him. He told us we cannot make a budget of $6,000 because he had never raised $200. So we could not make $6,000 budget. We still agree we made $6,000 budget. Our first evangelistic trip, Reverend Thomas did not pay and myself. At that program, we had a program in a one-hut village. We raised $18,000 that time. And we went around and around. But how much were they paying us? $50. $50 Liberian dollars. How do I pay all those days? After we raising $18,000. What do we want to say? When do we learn, as Alexander, all being in school, all of you being in school, what do you want to know before you can give to your church?
Right.
Tell me, I want to know this.
No, Bishop, the reason why we discuss the issue because I think the missionary, the conception the missionary had was that to not take giving or money to prevent you from going to church. I can recall when I was a laborer in the Tututa Lutheran Mission, when we used to go to the pastor that we had there, Kwebno wife would yeah, back when we change the body small, okay, everyone to the fast. You say that you're offering when you go to church, you're putting the pass. It was not our parents to give it to us.
No, stop that. Why did he do that? Why didn't he put in the basket?
That's education right there.
Hold on. Why didn't he put in the basket himself for you? He gave it to you so that you can learn. When you get it, you're supposed to pull it. You got it on your own. You didn't pull it. You still said they put it to you. Now listen to me. You come to a society where everybody are destitute. You must do something to involve them. I don't think we should be calling the missionary helping us involve us in the church and everything as not willing to. They taught us we're not willing to take it. Like I said, I've been pastor more than 30 years, and I was not doing any missionary's time, and I've been teaching, and people say don't want to give. We shouldn't leave on the missionary. On the other hand, what you are discussing about transition, I think, yes, there was a transition, even though at first it was a mission church. Then it went to a stage called a mission indigenous church. That's what Alexander was saying. We had a missionary on their own side making their own decision directly from this, and then we had an additional on the side making it. So what it was like, it came to the point where if a missionary, when J.C. Corrin was president, somebody else was vice president. Even at one point in time, Bishop Dick's late father, Joseph Dick, was vice president, right? And it came to the point where the indigenous felt that, no, they wanted some stability in terms of, we want to take over our church. When the missionary was still here, when they started teaching, training ministers, operational 5 pastors, the Manawus group, he named, I was saying, I was listening to Igbo, no history, I know him on the tip of my finger. Yeah. When they were trained to take over the church, at the point in time in the 1965 time, when they had a meeting, the constitutional conference you talk about, This constitution now turning the leadership of the church over to the indigenous. But we are working along with them at different point in time. Even though we were not ruling completely, totally, but why didn't we learn while we're working along? I don't think we should blame them all over. It's been more than 100 years since the missionary left us. Have we not learned from other churches as well? Have we not?
Yeah, thank you.
The problem we have that I have myself is that our non-compliance, not willing to work along with others, is the problem.
If you talk about the non-compliant, now what are you? Can you break it down?
I mean, we don't want to follow anybody. The issue we have, if it is not me, it can be nobody.
Right.
Okay.
So even the missionary sign, we will sit and see what they would do instead of make. I learned critical pastoral application when I worked with Pastor Cullum. I did not wait for Pastor Cullum to teach me word for word, act after act. I'll follow him and I watch him what he did and I practice after him. Why didn't we practice that?
That's good. That's very powerful.
When it was started, now, two things you got to understand. When our church started, it started in the era of slavery. People were running away from the white man.
Yeah.
What will the white man do to bring them back to them so that we have a mission? What's to encourage them with some of these things? There were a lot of things that were happening traditionally that to change, you have to encourage the people. When you are encouraged, you must pick up from there. Let's stop putting the delay or our inability to support our church on missionaries.
Yeah, Bishop, you just raised a very good point. Looking at the formation of the church at that time, when we had slavery were on the rise, especially in Africa. And maybe the best way to gain sympathy for the people was to come in the form of giving. You said, we don't want to put pressure on the people too much because of what happened in slavery. And that's a very good point you raised. You know, so that we all have to deep into it when it comes to sea worship. And that's a good point you raised. And with it, so while you're at, want to work against Bishop Test for coming to
but before you go to win it, listen.
Yeah.
What I struck there, you know how the church started. The first students were ex-slaves, captured slaves that were recaptured to become the first 40 students on campus. If you follow the history, the real church itself that started April 28th, few days after that, it had only 6 members. Because who want to come there? And that's why they took the slaves' children. Because the indigenous were afraid to give your brothers before they make them slaves. And so they had to do something to encourage us. But I don't think at this point in time, living in the world we're living in, after many years, many decades, we cannot continue blaming those people for our inability to give to our church. Thank God I'm here today.
Thank you. And that's very, very, that is small. You listen to Bishop. You talk about the book, the relaunch of that book. You talk about we have an institution or the Lutheran University where we need help, especially to run that institution, Lutheran University. You have a doctoral degree when it comes to vast knowledge, not just only to launch a book in Liberia, but to also provide knowledge to teach some of the courses and teach to the university. What is your thought? Are you open to that?
Well, quite recently, I've been speaking with Dr. Anderson, who is much more involved with our bishop and the Lutheran Church in Liberia. And I was just sharing some of the ideas because the last couple of years I served as Associate Dean for International Education with the C. Millen University. So I have a lot of idea when it comes to university resources. And when you talk about providing our own services to our church, that's something that we don't need to be asked to do. We should be willing to do
Definitely.
that. But also,
that is small. We are struggling right now.
We should not be struggling. we should not be struggling.
I agree. I agree. So, sorry, that is small. Go ahead. Go ahead. That is small. I just wanted to agree with you, but go ahead. Go ahead. In your thought. Yeah.
Why do I say that we should not be struggling? Murphy and I graduated from Capital University, a school that I served on the board of directors for a little over 3 years. Look, the universities in the United States has foundations that carries a lot of resources. When Murphy and some of the other guys were discussing the board of directors for our university in Liberia, my first and foremost suggestion to them was, look, this is about time to write out our ideas into a pinpoint university plan. And what do I mean by that? Here, like I told you initially, there will be no more free money to any institution, not just in Africa, but in Asia, in the Middle East, and anywhere where the churches in the West have been supported. They're no longer giving resources easily. So you have to have a clear pinpoint plans as to what you intend to do. And that was my concept idea to them initially. Look, let us plan what this university would look like. Let us plan what the university should be in the next 5, 6, 7, 10 years. And if you look at where we stand as Lutheran Church in Liberia, we are the mother church of West Africa. What do I mean by that? Liberia, Sierra Leone, Guinea, Africa. We are like a mother church in that region. And in fact, our church has provided much training to folks from Gambia, the folks from Sierra Leone, the folks from Guinea. In fact, we started the church in Guinea. You know what it was?
We are still supervising the church in Guinea.
Right. So
there was
a problem.
No, let me land.
But I told you, I allowed that small to land. I have a point to make on that. But let me land, please. Yeah.
So my idea was that, look, develop this university plan. Take maybe consult with other institutions that have had planning before. Develop the university plan of actions and submit it to the ELCA Foundation through the presiding bishop, like other universities in Africa have done. But the idea was, look, they want to jacobly go ahead and start this, which is fine. But in order to receive a funding grant that will provide institutional development for the university, you need to have a plan of action. And that plan of action, if you can bring it to the United States, there are a lot of our church leaders from Liberia who are here that are much more involved with the ELCA Foundation, can have it sent to the ELCA Foundation through the presiding bishop in the presence of our own bishop from Liberia. That was my suggestion.
Yeah.
So back to the point, the question I was asked to Reverend Dr. Sumo, if he offered to go, and provide his assistance at the Lutheran University. And I like the response that he gave. And this reminds me of the point that our fellow colleague, what's the name? Elijah Zina, he always says that the Lutheran Church in Liberia is not brain drain. We have the resources, we have the manpower to do what we want to do. We need to channel it in the right direction. Habakkuk 2:2. Again, I'm just an acolyte. I'm not a pastor. I'm just an acolyte. Habakkuk 2:2. And I'll just rephrase it. Like a vision, make it plain. We have to write it, make it plain in writing and present it. Okay. I remember in 2021 when we represented Aliyah in Liberia, we had a meeting on a compound with Reverend Jesse King and the team from Liberia. The plan was to come here, and when we came back, there was a gentleman, I think from East Africa. We were referred to the point Reverend Small made. We were referred to this guy. He helps emerging organizations start, emerging universities. And, he will help with the proposal work and everything and to get things going. It did not follow through. I know we want to run this university. We want to have a university of our own. But in order, And I would say this to there's a parable always, Brother Stephen Cover, he will always say when we went for choir practice as in Matthew, he would say, before you lie down, sit down. I never understood that until years later. Before we walk, we have to crawl. We cannot just jump and start walking and start running. We need to crawl. And those are some of the things that actually we missed. I mean, can we correct them? I believe there's opportunity for us to,
Okay, that's
go back and correct those things. But I'll be honest with you, there are a lot of mistakes that we had along the way.
That Bishop coming. My question,
Bishop coming. That's fine.
Yeah, my question, when I go into that deep
Willie,
area you want to go in.
Yeah.
Willie,
Yes.
people learn from mistakes.
Yep.
What I want to say to all of you is that it's not quite an easy thing. I like all the points you're raising, and I don't think they are lit or it is lit for them.
No, I don't think it's lit either.
Yes, I'm coming in. At least we have our recognition by the government.
Yep.
To make something happen, we are doing something right now. It may not be the way we wanted it to be, but we have not gone far to correct anything that we think we can correct. And there are many ways we all can contribute to this process. Now, I heard what Alexander said. Here in Liberia, now you people there who know the technical know-how and can put things in the perspective can congregate and do that. I don't think anybody here will reject that. Here, the way we are trying to do our own, because we're just starting, and it's just to give it some footsteps. I have even told the theological staff at the university that all of us who are pastors with master degrees trained by this church will offer our voluntary services until we can take fruit.
Good, that's good.
When the university people, when the students see that they have qualified teachers, students will come. While we run the show on the ground of instructional show, you can be doing the technical work. I don't think that should be something that we should complain that it's not it. I want you all to know that this place is for you, and if it means getting back together and putting in those pieces that were left out, get back to it and do it. We'll keep it still living. We'll still keep the fire burning. We cannot say we'll close it down to get this thing in. You know, in Liberia, it's hard to get things good. When we had the opportunity to get it started, we tried to make it. I myself had to run about with the article incorporation. I was in the ministry up and down to get it done. Sometimes using my big face presence. So since we got it moving, you people sit down and put together, go back, call yourself back and say, look, this is what we should have done, we didn't do, or we did something we didn't do all. Let's go back to it. But we cannot close the fire, we cannot call the fire off right now. Today, the whole week I've been around. I was at the Kolida convention, I was at St. Mark's convention, I've been around a few times trying to introduce the university to the people. In fact, one thing I said to them, even we don't have pastors, we're running, all of us who are pastors are nearing retirement. So trying to encourage, so get closer back.
Yeah, definitely.
But we can go back and not those pieces that were left untied and tie them to make it feasible. I was just today appealing to Senator Prismoy. I'm inviting him to the Founders Day, April 24 to 27. I mean, we are inviting some other people, not to give us money, but to introduce ourselves to them officially and let them know that we are there. And the university in total there, and it's not just for Lutherans. It also boosts their morale as leaders of Bon County and Liberia. So we're doing our part on this ground. If there's something that was left out, let's not take a blame game. Let's go back. Let's see.
Yeah, definitely, Bishop.
No, I mean, definitely, Bishop. Yeah. So, okay. So, I mean, anyway, it's good that you can use your bishop role to invite people to come.
So, Bishop, like you already said, right? We try to take care of the technical aspect. I must say here too, Yeah, I must say too.
So when you feel all with a PhD in that place,
we come in. We
had to invite a leadership.
You're fixing and bring it to me.
No, I wait to
bring it to me.
Yeah, I wait to offer my service to teach to so courses what type of vacation I can't so good that in my home time. I've been right there. I can take the teach some of the courses which I even sent a proposal to Dr. Anderson about one of the proposal plan that Dr. Sumo talking about. So we always will help the university to make this a success. With it, just before you come,
Yeah, I have a quick question. I have a quick question
what
to
the closing
do.
topic.
No,
Quick.
no, no,
Yeah, I
no,
need
no.
to start talking.
You wait before I forget.
I
You wait before I forget.
want to join us on
The proposals you put aside to Dr. Anderson, the way to do it also is to share with us.
Oh yeah, you
Because
definitely
if
share
we're
what you
doing
got.
it with Dr. Anderson,
No.
it
You
remains there. So you
definitely
share
share
with
what
us too. I can make a push with Dr. Anderson and make sure the proposals that have been shared with you. What are we doing about that? If you really
yeah,
leave with him, I
definitely.
don't know about it. I mean, then let's share.
Yeah,
All
definitely.
right,
Well,
Will,
yeah,
go ahead.
I'm not cutting you off, but I mean, the idea was that because I mean, the reason why most of the time I discuss with Dr. Anderson is because of the structure that is set up between the LCL and Aliyah. So we don't want to like be another face of the church from the outside. So I usually want to go through the structure with Aliyah and onto the Lutheran Church in Liberia. But I was talking with Murphy the other day. I mean, the decision to have a national president of the university was good. But my initial thought was that look, from the beginning or from the inception of the university, for the first 5 years or for the first 10 years, we could tap into the resources of global mission. And that is the assets we have. Can we write for global mission to send us a president, a provost, a vice president, a dean of academic affairs? Look, I tell you this thing: if you have white folks on the ground, money will come. The institution will be built.
But let me give you the information that the Sumo. I agree with you. One of the things we have was getting to when we had the opportunity to get accredited. It was an urgent thing. We needed somebody to stand in the flow. So I remember our part of the process. Even that the Maraba we have today, even though we installed him, he was there as an alternative to push us through the process, have the process going. Because when we went to a high commission, we had to present a precedent. That's how come we went that short. But like I said, it's still not late. Right now, I'm sitting down here. What I'm doing, I'm talking with ELC and Global Mission to even send me administrators and other people for either Phoebe or Corin Hospital to put things back into perspective. So that is not late. We can't fight about that.
Yeah.
Let's see what we can do. I think that right now, and I'm talking with Global Health Ministry in Minnesota. I'm sure they're going to send me the form to apply for volunteers. That's what I've been since 2023 when I visited Adia in Minnesota. I started that with them. And luckily for us, people are here from Global Health who we even had to put on the Phoebe board, representative from Global Health. We don't want to stop in there. We want volunteer from Global Health. It's a similar round. It's a similar. What I really want, I want some principle procedures put in place, system put in place. And that would be a good thing. But that was I say, you'll work it out. We can discuss it together, make the suggestion, and let us have it also, so that because we are representing the university on this side, go on that side. So let's put it together and see how we can move from there. That would be the best.
Yeah, thank you. Before I
So
don't get it late.
yeah, I want to ask a question.
What it?
I want to go back to the book. Yeah, I want to go back to the book.
You come back later on. We'll come back to the book. I just want to ask Bishop, because I don't want to lose it with what you addressing some of the concern. We'll come back to the book. It's also tied to leadership and accountability also too. Bishop. So time ago, it was we got some information. It was alleged. It was alleged that some issue that occurred in your office.
You bring you
That your office, particularly number in central office, there was an issue. A laptop, computer got missing. I think the police or security had to do some investigation. 2 laptops that got missing. I think for the content.
Ask me what happened. I know this.
Yeah,
I know the story.
Yeah, and then the issue of I think $75,000 that from your first convention was an allegation that came up, well, also investigation on. So you want to care to tell about the current status of the investigation?
Let me say one thing to all of you people on Mandarin Connections. We should not use this station, this program, more political than religious.
Yeah, sure.
The issues you are raising, and that's why I became a little bit mute with coming on the show, because people were raising concern to make people look different. All of those things you're saying, sometimes what is good, it's good to first call me on the long line, let's talk, then we can come on the line. I will respond to you. But let's not begin make it, because I want you to understand few things before I comment. Many persons who are talking in negative stand are doing that to undermine and degrade this administration. Know that. They're not taking away peaceful, in a much more diligent manner that they want to know. This is what happened. Let me start with the 75,000. First 52,000. Because many persons got it mixed up. When we took over, I was sitting in the sea when we got the information that some people have been taking the bishop's signature sheet since 2019 to withdraw money from the bank on the issue like payrolls. We went through it. We had the police involved, arrested the guys, and they admitted in court that they did it. We are fighting to get those money from them. The time they showed to pay has elapsed, so we took the lawyer back to court to tell us that how it's happening because the people have not paid the money. So we took them back to court. During the report you talked about at the convention, the auditors reported that they realized that 75,000, they could not find documentations for those 75,000. Not that it was eaten by anybody, but they didn't find a document to substantiate that.
Yeah.
So in the just wait. In their advice, they felt that even the proceeding of accounting for the check was not good. We should engage some of the what you call the quick book. I don't to make things easier because it was difficult to trace papers. We've been dragging. We have been looking. Unfortunately for us, we have tried to even call because the convention asked the board of finance trustees to help us do the audit of those papers. It had not been possible up to now. So what we did was I got the treasurer and the financial people to check documents. And I want to tell you, we could not find the papers in one file. We had to kind of almost twist all of the files, financial files they had. Finally, we found the complete vouchers and receipts that those money, this $25,000 accounts for.
Wow, that's good. Good to hear that.
Yes, I speak to you. The 75,000 business has been a result from our end. I can give you, if you want to, I will even send you a copy of the vouchers and the receipt number and everything that constitute the 75,000. None of them were easy. So when that was just money that people, in fact, when I went through it, I signed all of the vouchers and checks. I signed it. I saw all of them. Some of them were for people like Marian Jara, who is the Sunday school consultant. Her church sent her fees, her annual operational fees yearly. Some of them were that money. Some of them were car repair. So everything is there. Any financial person, if I would take it back to the auditors to verify that these are what they were looking for, and they did. What we are even done, we have written the partners a note as presenting those people to them, along with the auditor's note to substantiate that this money was not eaten by anybody. You understand that? That is clear.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving time, the computer issue you raised it happened that we gave a Thanksgiving break, and over the break, I was out in the field doing some work in Banga, and I got the information that somebody broke into the place and took computers. We came back to the office, realized it was true. We took the case to court, to the police. Before the police invited the police to come and help us investigate. Well, many people thought I was the wrong thing, but well, when things happen sometimes, it's so exciting, you don't even know anxiety, you don't know it. But we did that. And they took people to the court. People running around here and saying, uh, uh, um, accusing possible person who did it. We got to be careful. The police have not said that. So what were they doing in the process? I want to be friends with you people that have been friends with the whole world. When they were going through the investigation, look, I mean, for me, the weekend that they want, because the treasurer and accountant, they have them as want to have them DT. You there? You can hear me?
Yeah, okay, hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
You can hear me?
Yeah, we hearing you.
Yeah.
Are you hearing me?
Bishop can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello?
Like,
Yes, we're hearing you. We're hearing you.
Can you get me?
Yes.
Bishop can hear you.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, okay, hear you. Okay, hear you.
So I said the treasurer were getting married that weekend when they were supposed to detain them while going through the investigation. Honestly, I asked the legal counselor for the church to tell the police to pull a hold on it and let the man do his wedding. That's what I did.
Fair
In
enough.
my own best, it may be wrong to everybody, but I don't think that was the best to let him be in jail when he still get married that weekend or detained. So I put a halt to it. I'm now taking the case back to court. The police supposed to come tomorrow or day tomorrow. So take the issue back to the court. People gotta be human beings.
Yep.
We have to be real. So that's what I did. So yeah, but nothing happened. No, I couldn't be sitting here. The man supposed to get married had gone through all of his preparation and everything. 2 days, then I let police detain him because we think he has stolen a computer had gotten missing. Now he has stolen computer had gotten missing from his office. That's the issue there. People
Yeah,
kept
Bishop,
laughing
thank
and
you.
making very day. Today,
Thank you so much.
okay, good.
Thank you so much for that clarification. Because we just wanted to just get some input and thank you so much. So what they want to recognize our viewer out there like we normally do in the queue. What they want to recognize our viewer in the queue, then we'll come back.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Bishop is already here. I want to recognize our mother, Daddy Howard. Daddy Howard's from Bannersville. Brother David Mulba. David Mulba is there in Zozo. So Reverend, this tells you how far and why our program is being monitored. Also in India, in the southeast, South Africa, talking about Zimbabwe area. So a lot of people do follow, and people, because of time difference, some people follow later on.
Yeah.
Bishop Padmo is here. He commented. I screen Brother Edwin Jala. Brother Edwin Jala is from St. Matthews. He's the vice president for St. Matthews. I think Brother Killing
We don't have five
co-chair.
what do you
Bishop, thank you for the correction. I've gotten so accustomed to this sign because the council, you have council
right,
president and vice presidents. That's the reason why I'm sorry. Yeah, so but I think it's brother, killing me quickly, brother killing me quickly. Brother Sonny George is also here, and he asked a question, and maybe that just small you can look at it as well. Then later on you can respond to it. He said, "Hey, Dr. Small, congratulations on the publication. This is interesting to hear. Was the missionary vision validated by the traditional Lutherans on the ground?" So that's the question he asked. And also, brother Alfie Tonga.
That's the president of the Liberian community.
Oh, okay, brother Alpha Tonga. Okay, in Ohio, right?
In Columbus, yes.
In Columbus. Okay, I think I met him. I think I met him that day. But Alpha Tonga, I want to say thank you for following. Thank you for following. We also have the Reverend J. Louis McKay. He's talking about Bishop Dick's writing.
Bishop
Payne. Yeah, Bishop Payne. That I told her we need to try to find a copy of this book. I tried researching. I don't know. Maybe it's in the library in Ohio or somewhere. But I tried looking for it. It's no online material to really get a copy of it.
Yeah, we'll try to get a copy of that book.
Yeah, when we try to invite,
if you try to get in touch, Get in touch with Bishop P's wife.
Okay.
I
Okay.
mean, it's on Amazon. You can get it
You
from
get
Amazon. This
For
Sumo.
Amazon. Yeah.
yes, Amazon.
Reverend Small, we will talk sometime later this week, on publicity and other things, and also to get a copy of this book, because I was trying to look online, Google and everything. I couldn't find something on it. Um, then also Bamile, Harris Bamile is also filing for shuffling. And our sister Marley Mulva, she's the current Secretary General of Aliyah. So a lot of people following us today. I mean, the conversation today is quite interesting.
Yeah.
But Dr. Toto, I really want for us to invite, since the fact that Reverend Smo has um a second publication, that is in the work and is going to be coming up. Maybe we can invite him and go a little deeper into the current book, and then also touch a little bit on the one that is
Oh yeah,
coming up,
definitely. So yeah, we'll do that.
and also provide the opportunity for more publicity and where the launch is going to be taking place, and we will discuss all of that in the back end. We can
Yeah, we'll
help
talk.
also
Yeah, yeah,
with publicity.
yeah.
And also I just want to share with us, Dr. Sorry. Oh, anyway, I mean this, you can claim it, Dala, Dr. Dala Pedro Pedalo Pakla. So it just came out of my mouth saying Dr. Dala. Yeah, but Dada Pedalo Pakla. This is the son of Reverend Pakla, the former BA. Yeah, son of Reverend Pakla. So yes, and he is the president of Monrovia District. He's the current, he's the current president of Monrovia District Lutheran Youth Fellowship. So I want to thank you all for following, and Reverend Small, on a very short notice. We really appreciate your presence with us today. Yeah, I think you can see by the comments from the comment section.
Yeah, thank you for the recognition of our listening on the audio with it. And also,
Yep.
very small. Thank you so much on a short notice.
Yeah.
And at least, I think you are really expound a lot when it comes to issues affecting our church and with your book. Now, with this, we'll talk to you behind the scene
Yeah.
to see whether we can discuss more about the upcoming book, to connect these two books. It will just be a particular show on that day.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
exclusive for the book.
Yeah.
We'll deep deeper into the book
Yeah.
and discuss an issue that are confronting our church. Maybe on the aspect of education,
Yeah.
to provide knowledge out there to our people, to educate them on a lot of issues when it comes to the issue of the missionary versus the traditional Lutheran, like the question that Brother Sonny George asked in the queue.
Yeah.
Whether the traditional Lutheran versus the missionary, so those are aspects that we will have to take a particular time, we'll come and discuss the issue. We wanted the show that will keep Bishop be the last with us. He had to give all the benediction. Well, before the bishop will give a benediction, we'll just let to hear a few seconds for the bishop. When it comes to the upcoming convention that coming up, the theme for this year convention. What are the expectations? What are the expectations for this year convention? What is in the package for this
Arturo, before Bishop comes in, can I just ask this question? I don't want to forget. I want to ask this question to Dr. Smo.
Yeah,
Uh,
that is more coming in. He will take he will give a closing part of your question.
right,
Then
right, right,
will come in. He will give a little bit of
right,
highlight
right.
on convention. Yeah, so Rabbi Smoke,
Yeah.
you can ask your question, then Rabbi
Yeah.
Smoke can answer. He gave a closing part to us.
Sure. So, Reverend, if you can recall, sometimes back, the church, people like sometimes refer to as the Pele Loma Church, I'm going back to the issue of culture and language barrier, wherein you talked about the two. So okay, so you talk about a master plan, and I will just read in part quickly. And I don't know, it would be, in all fairness, I just want to to share this so that our viewers can just see a part that I'm reading from. So um, you said in part that a master plan was developed to open a chain of mission stations at about 25 miles interval from the in-war coastal plateaus to the northern borders region with Guinea, and the date is there, from 1907 to 1938. And then you talk about new stations were opened: the Poloquele, Sanoye, Belefenai, and all of the Pele tribe. Then you talk about the Zozo, densely populated Loma tribe region, and you went further and talk about how it was now critical for the missionaries to learn and adapt the language and culture of Pele and Loma. So when people talked about Loma Pele Church, and it kind of draws me to this. Except because they first settled in these areas before going to the southeast, or the church was just presented to only the Loma and Pele because these areas were where missionaries had interest or learned the language, or these two. Yeah.
Well, not really. I mean, though the church was mostly formed from the Maysbury area up to the different mission station up to Zaza, through Salayi, was mostly Pele and Loma, but the idea was for the Lutheran mission to spread across Liberia and even up to Sierra Leone and Guinea. So the idea was not only to be among Pele and Loma, but that's where they found themselves. And that was where the church were. But lately you saw that the church went to the southeast. In fact, right now we are having mission station in Riverside in Sino.
Yeah.
So it tells you that our church was much more interested in rural Liberia than most of the other churches that settled right in Monrovia. So that was a great missional journey, a great missional idea to go to those who could not easily be accessible. And our church did just that. So we should not be called Pele or Loma Church.
I can jump with Bishop keep it right. Our gallery, each church gallery. So one guy they say which church to come for? Then one guy say, but to that Pele be asking which church to come for. Yeah, so they are Lutheran men. So they have to put they identify all the identity already. I mean, yeah.
But I think the real truth is like what he said. If you read Winston's book, Lutheran Mission in Liberia, it tells us that the church was started as an additional church. The purpose of Morris Officer's mission was to train the indigenous children who would train their people. Fortunately for him and for us, the church started in the Pele region. If you go to where Middlesbrough and Harrisburg is or are right now, most of the language either is small Gola or a whole lot of Pele. I come from that region. I come from around the Benson, Harrisburg area. You can walk 15, 20 minutes from Harrisburg to my village. So, but what Alex said, and the church went along with the St. Paul River, which was like a route. Along the St. Paul River, along that side, they went up interior as far as Lofa. In fact, you understand that at sometimes they hit Lofa for even coming back down to Tututa.
Yeah.
So the church came back to Monrovia around the 1950s, where most of the people in Lofa were not looking for work to do in the city. That is 60 people that's in video were from 1957. Around the same time of bomb mines and Yekepa and all kind of places around those years. But it's not because it was intended for Pele and normal people. If I'm sure officers has landed somewhere in Cape Palmas, he would have formed the church on our side. What we call it global church. No, we won't. But because what made it more Pele? Because what they started doing, when they started doing the language of the people started learning to read and read that one that called most of the church. When they started learning how to read and read Loma and Pele. If you don't know, you know the history that even the government of Liberia hire somebody, one missionary from us, who became the petty director or something for the whole Republic of Liberia some years back. So the house became prominent and became known. But because that was the case, they call petty and but that's not true. If that was the case, they would got no reason going to Southeast and everywhere. Like he regularly said, the 15 counties of Liberia now have good conditions.
Oh, that's good.
Everywhere in this country. Yes, we have conditions everywhere right now.
That's good. That's a good improvement. Yes, so Reverend Sumo, you want to give us your closing pattern? Then we'll keep Bishop there for a few minutes for us. If you want to,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I say if you want to say all or the Bishop gave for the blessing, that would be cool. But you can just give us your closing pattern. The Bishop will just give us the few minutes. Then Bishop can give our can give the blessing to us. But don't just close and go. Just few minutes.
Yeah, I'll be sitting here. Well, I want to thank you guys for the opportunity to share some of the ideas we've acquired over time, and definitely I want to be involved with the formation of our university. I don't want to pass Aliyah, but I'm definitely having some connection here that we can work along with the university committee to see our university going forward. And I want to be open much more to a Lutheran connection. I'm available anytime you're ready. Just let me know. Unfortunately, I have to have 3 services on a Sunday. Today I had just 2. So usually, if it is my 3 preaching Sunday, I can't do that. But other than that, I'm open most of the time. And please give us the time to talk. I want to be a part of this so that we can move our church forward. And I want to thank all of your listening audience, especially my president, Alpha Tonga from Columbus, and all of our folks, Sister Dede Howell, one of our well-known mothers. Thank all of you guys for what you do. Continue to support our church. That's our church. It's no longer the missionary church. It's our church. We must do everything to ensure that we have it continued. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So, Bishop, you have it. So, Bishop,
yes. But before I get it, Benedict, you ask a question concerning the upcoming. It's not a convention. It's not a convention. It's a Founders Day.
Founders Day.
One year is Founders Day. The next year is convention.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not sure what, but this is we're trying to do. This is a team honoring our legacy, renewing our commitments to Christ's mission. During that Founders Day, we're not going to be discussing Bishop report, treasurer report. We're going to be discussing issues of moving forward. So what we have done is that we're creating some roundtable panel discussion. We have few topics. I'll read few of them to you. The first one is ensuring financial independence, alternative funding, and investment strategy for LCL. That's one of them. We have a few persons who discuss that and the panel, and we'll write up some highlight point. The second one we have would be now in our church. When I was in America, we're trying to see if we can solicit a partnership with another synod, and then it's not possible because we already have a partnership with a synod. We have only one church. If our church was divided into synods, then we have different synods making partnerships. So what we now have, we have districts and deans. Is it possible to merge some of our smaller districts and make them a synod? That's something we all want to be looking at. But first, we must start with the issue of a full-time district dean. So in the future, if that is done, then those districts will be strong, they can become synods, and they'll be able to establish partnership with, just like how ESCA goes. You can have conference of bishops, but you can also have synods having their own convention. So we have the role of full-time. Let me complete the role of full-time district dean in strengthening doctrinal and biblical knowledge in the LCL. The next one we have as a panel discussion would be reaching the next generation, youth engagement and discipleship in the LCL. The last one, so we got like 4. The last one would be the future of theological education in the LCL, the role of the Lutheran University in Liberia. Those are things we'll be discussing. We're happy to sit down on the panel and discuss it, and we'll draw up highlight points that we can make for work forward.
And also, quick question, Bishop. Will the public have the opportunity to either listen in or like view some of the panel, the conversation that will be held?
Everybody will. Everybody. At the conference, we just have when the time reach for this panel, they will set up in front of the church and discuss it, and people will have time to ask them questions and make comments. Then we draw how you call it, mean points, right?
Yeah.
Then we can draw that and give it to the small committee to work on it and come up with something for the church to work on. Everybody will have access to hearing and discussing, but there will be few people who will lead the panel discussion.
And then also, are you expecting delegates from around Lutheran institutions around the world or becoming to Liberia?
Everywhere, even Aliyah is invited. In fact, one of our speaker will be one of our speaker will be the bishop for Upper Susquehanna.
Okay, that's good.
So Bishop, will it be live on social media so that those who are not in the country and are interested?
When you come and help me put it on social media, we'll put it there.
We can have a conversation with you in the back end and see how my Lutheran connection can.
Call me tomorrow or day after tomorrow. That's okay.
Yeah, call me day after tomorrow. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, we can have a discussion about
yes.
So we can bring a
but basically, those are something you want to do. Yeah. Those are what you want to do, and one of the major points for that conference will be to make a presentation of the draft revised constitution of the LCL. We're just going to present. We're not discussing it, but so people can know what are those amendments made and what new one can come. So we're going to discuss. Because at the convention next year, we'll be adopting it. So right now, just want to present it so people can have an idea about it, encourage people to buy copies so we can be able to study it and be able to do something further.
So a follow-up question,
all right?
Bishop, follow-up question. The proposal, the proposal you that you envision, like having regional bishops, then having, is it like the ELCA style to have a presiding bishop?
I said yes, exactly.
And I think it's possible. We can divide Liberia perhaps into three. And then have regional bishops.
But right now in the southeast, there are two districts, Upper and Lower Southeast. Even though the upper are distinct districts, but one time in a year, February every year, they come together in the inter-district conference, which I'm always attending, trying to strengthen that. If that idea is board and I see it work fine, we can do a similar thing. Yep. Upper, Lower, Lofa, and Upper Bong also can combine and become a synod. We don't have to have the same 9 districts we have. We can have 2 or 3 synods, but very strong and functional that can make their own progress and report to the conference of bishops.
Yeah, okay. That's true.
And the bishop, lastly, everybody we invite to the show here, would they Dr. Sumo, they ask the question too. But all our guests that we invite on the show here will have our million-dollar question. We always ask them.
I've been here better than you know that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We brought that question to you before. We brought that question to you again, and I'm going to ask that same question to you again. The proposal that was raised by our brother Sisi Goya. You talk about the beautiful initiative to have a local church. That's a solution. They all propose Liberian local conference. A conference that be separate from your national conference. But it's a special conference that will bring all technocrats together to discuss the vision of the church in the 21st century. So everybody that comes on will ask that question. People really aspire on it. They say it's a good direction. So I'm asking you the same question again today again. The last time you talk about it, ask it again.
But you're not asking the question, you're telling me something.
Yeah, so
what is the question specific?
What's the view on the all proposed conference?
About a proposed all Liberian Lutheran conference.
LCL conference? LCL conference?
It's a different conference. It's a conference that's different from the LCL conference that you got normally have. But this is a special conference to discuss the future of the church.
To be held by who?
in
The future of what
collaboration,
church?
with the Lutheran Church in Liberia. The Lutheran Church in Liberia,
So
maybe
we talking.
Aliyah and
Are
Pastor.
we going to discuss? You talking about us discussing Lutheran Church?
Yeah, the Lutheran Church in Liberia. And with the support of Aliyah, the conference team will be drafted and it will be presented to the Lutheran Church in Liberia to peruse it and give their input in it. Then before it go into implementation.
What I want to say to you, like I said earlier when I started, there are some very good things you guys think about, but it's better we talk it off the show and have a ground before we come on the show. Because you can
Okay.
say something on this show is going wild.
Yeah.
Those are good ideas, but I think let's discuss. I don't have a problem with that, but I don't want to make a definite response to this. I want the idea, the vision bearer, to speak to us. Let's talk it. Let's talk it off the air and see what it says. What are they thinking? Because one thing that happens in this church, we go to conventions, we go to big meetings, we pass resolutions, and those resolutions are left up to administration and they are never supported. Now I sit in a place with a lot of resolution. Nobody is able to even pay their quota to this church. Of
Yeah.
all of the churches and parishes, only 30% of all of the parishes have paid part of their quota, leaving 70% out. So I'm thinking about not just saying yes to the program, but when we're talking off the air and see
Yep.
how we're going to do it, the modality, then I can come to this air and say it is a good thing. We go for it. I don't want to say yes to something. I have a lot on my plates. I don't even have a source of income to carry that, or I don't want to add more. It is
So
very
that
good because one person cannot do it, but I think we need to do it from that perspective. So ask me
yeah,
a question.
okay.
Let's discuss it off the line, and then
Yeah,
we move on.
definitely so.
Nobody will take us a
Definitely so.
bad.
Yeah, definitely so. So Bishop, thank you. We are coming to the close of the end of the another edition of my Lutheran Connection. We want to say thanks to our viewer and our listener audience out there for tuning in to be part of the process. We'll see you guys next week. Again for another edition. Will be the first Sunday. We have our dear sister couple will be the host for April. And you don't want to miss April. What other past us people that'll be appearing on the show in April. I think our schedule is already booked for April, right? With it?
Yes, our schedule
Yeah.
is booked, and
People,
to the
actually, people are already called to put their schedule in Bishop. That how enjoyable the show have become. And if you look at our number out there, we are ready. Our 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 rating is improving every time we come on the show. Our number is increasing. So people are tuning in. People putting in their support. People want to come on the show to discuss about the VC issue we're discussing. So with it,
yeah.
if you don't have anything for Bishop can give a closing statement for all. Then Bishop can give a benediction. Then we honor you.
Yeah, before Bishop gives his benediction and we are out of here, it's just something I want to share quickly, and this was, so much. I mean, I was very passionate to have had this, experience, and that is on one of our tour days we had to and I just want to show this quickly. On our tour days, we had to visit the Luther Garden, and I was being a little bit more selfish. So they had called me in and said, "Oh, Willie, let us go. The Senate I'm in. Let us go to this Senate tree." And I got to find out that the Lutheran Church in Liberia had a tree. So and I went quietly to the guy who was presenting to us, and I asked him, I said, "Where is the tree of Liberia?" And the first question he asked me, he said, "You from Liberia?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Victor Patmore?" I said, "Yeah, Reverend Dr. Victor Patmore is my bishop." Then he said, just, he tried to put me into the direction of the tree. And I mean, it was a proud movement for me when I went, and after a few minutes I saw the headstone, and I was, look, if you look at the other photos, I literally hugged this tree. I mean, if you can see right there, I was holding on to the street. Like, yes, Liberia is represented. The Lutheran Church in Liberia is represented. It was a proud moment for me. So I want to say thanks to the Lutheran
One, si-
Church.
one, one, 162.
Yeah,
162 is the
162.
number of
Yeah,
Liberia.
that's right. I think that also give me just give me full moment. I want to show something here
Just
quickly.
last week I had one of our pastors there doing studying Luther. She also went to that tree. I went to it. Bishop
Yes,
Harris
yes,
planted that tree.
yes, and 162, like you mentioned, this is it right here. 162, as you can see, it's right here, 162. So it was a proud moment for me to actually, uh, um, see our tree, among all of the trees that were planted in this Luther garden, and words cannot really just express how excited and profound moment that was, yes, for me. And I mean, other people were still struggling, but the Lutheran Church in Liberia was or is represented. So again, I want to thank God for the opportunity. I want to use this medium to thank again the ELCA for this opportunity. I want to thank the Reverend Dr. Joseph Boko. I want to thank my dear sister in ministry, Justina, the Reverend Justina Surgeon, Reverend Moses Dennis, the entire African National Ministries team. I want to thank everyone for the support and for this opportunity, and also Christian Tour Europe. I want to thank them for this opportunity. As a reformer, this has been one of my lifelong wish to really just see, where the Reformation started. And Bishop,
Wittenberg.
don't get me started because we're not going to go today because yes, I just
Wittenberg.
but
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
was there. I was there.
I know. No, the moment I didn't take a picture of the guy, but the moment I said Liberia, the first question he asked, Victor Patmo, I said yes. I didn't even know how to respond to him because when he said Victor Patmo, it's like, but when you say Victor Patmo, then me talking to me now. So, so yeah. Then he talk about the lady who went there, Reverend Manawu, right?
Mawolo.
Maulo, yes,
Yeah.
Maulo, Reverend
Lopu
Maulo, who
Mawolo.
was
Lopu
just
Mawolo from
Lopu
Bannerville.
Maulo. So he
From
asked me,
Bannerville.
he said, Lopu Maulo? I said yes. To be honest, I just said yes, but and that's he directed the guy is from Hungary. He's a Reverend doctor from Hungary, and I just
Yeah.
forgot his name, but I mean
Is that Samuel?
we can discuss that another
Okay,
day. But I
yeah,
encourage
so thank you for that,
yeah,
Woody.
I encourage I
Okay, like I
encourage
said,
every
thank you for
Liberian
visiting.
Lutheran
Take your
to
benediction.
really take that opportunity.
So Woody, so
Yeah.
Bishop, you can have it.
Take your benediction.
Yes.
Let me say thank you to all of you people. Thank you for the show. And thank you for the education you give our people across the world concerning the work and life of our church here in Liberia.
Yeah.
Let's have our benediction. The Lord bless us and keep us. The Lord make his face shine on us and be gracious to us. The Lord lift his countenance upon us and give us peace. In the name of God the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.